Many people are desperate to make it in Hollywood. Myself included, I'm an actor, here's my headshots, please hire me. So much so that they are willing to stoop to the lowest of lows to achieve that dream. And when you go to the lowest of lows, you open yourself up to something dark, something inhuman, something no human should ever have to experience. There is a certain type of person who preys on those looking to make it big, those who wish more than anything else to be a star. Those bottom feeders will whisper sweet nothings into your ear and make you do horrendous things for their own sick and twisted enjoyment. Today is a story about one of those bottom feeders, George Brixly. Welcome to the Ready or Not lore series, where in today's episode we will discuss the mission The Spider. As always, this video will be divided up into two sections, the first being all in-game/developer confirmed information, and the second being my own theories as to where the story and world may go. If you wish to jump to a specific section, timestamps will be available in the description. Seized assets recovered from the Mindjot data center point to the owner, George Brixly, operating in one of the poorest neighborhoods in Los Sueños, the Row. The Row is often avoided by the general public. In the Row, you can't walk the streets without seeing police cars posted at every alley. Months of trash has accumulated on the curbs, clothes hang from the windows waiting to be stained with the smell of smoke, and makeshift tents of the homeless litter the sidewalks. Meanwhile, Brixly Talent Time looms right in the middle of it. Brixly Talent Time is a filthy place, disgustingly decorated with children's toys, clothing, and photographs. Used as a front for talent scouting, this place is a breeding ground for sexual assault, pornography, and financial abuse. SWAT have been deployed to serve a search warrant on the Brixly Talent Time to assist with investigations into an illicit CP ring. Beginning outside, we can clearly see just how rough the Row really is. Garbage, homeless camps, graffiti, you name it, it's there, complemented by the sound of distant gunfire. While looking around outside, we can find a poster for something called the Venus Project, which states a prosperous future for all the world's people. The Venus Project. No idea what this is, but based on the picture, it's giving me really Rajneeshpuram vibes. If you don't know what that is, go watch Wild Wild Country on Netflix. But to briefly explain it, a religious community based out of Oregon in the 80s infected salad bars of multiple restaurants with salmonella in an attempt to incapacitate the voting population of the city so that their own candidates would win the county elections. Might be a reach, but perhaps this event is the inspiration for an upcoming map with a similar story, and this poster is a tease. We can find a derelict DeBanco truck with the ironic writing on the side saying, "Need a security detail? Don't leave yourself stranded. Go safe. Go to Banco." Outside, we can also find some signs commenting on Senator Fremont's vet funding cut bill, which we've discussed in multiple prior episodes. On the talent agency itself, we can see the building was once called Martinez Safe Injection Clinic. A safe injection clinic, or safe injection site, is a real thing where people go to have a hygienic environment to consume illicit recreational drugs with the purpose of preventing overdoses. Moving into the Market Corner store, we find it abandoned with, strangely enough, full shelves. This, coupled with the food display also being relatively full, most likely means the owner booked it or was told to leave when the cops showed up. Also, based on the shotgun he keeps under the counter, I think it's safe to assume this place may be a hotspot for robberies. There's also nothing really in the back other than a newspaper we've seen before, so let's move to the courtyard. More tents, homeless shelters, more garbage, more graffiti, and more, presumably, dead cars, and that's basically it. However, this is where you most likely will encounter your first hostile, that being Bolton Security. We last saw these guys working for Amos Voll, which, spoiler alert, he's a pedophile, and spoiler alert, so is Brixly, and spoiler alert, those two maps are linked, as we'll later see. So this connection may be hinting that whoever runs Bolton Security is in league with Voll and Brixly and has a stake in the CP ring. Entering Brixly Talent Time through a side door, we immediately find discarded clothes lining the shelves. In the next room, we find handprints and posters lining the walls, with the subsequent hallway being extremely run down. We can also find more remnants from the previous tenants. In fact, they did a horrible job with cleaning up because Martinez Safe Injection Clinic paraphernalia is absolutely littering this place. We can find what I imagine is the help desk, where we can actually find a newspaper discussing Mudasir's memorial. Gas station attendant brutally slain during robbery remembered. The 4U siege reaches its anniversary. This is a reference to the gas station map, which is now confirmed to take place before this mission, if not a year prior, hence the anniversary. In the lobby, there are more magazines, but we've covered them in the past, so I won't go into them again. We find more posters advertising Brixly Talent Agency, particularly catering to children. In the next room, we see a kid waiting room with toys scattered around, as well as magazines claiming the Wenderley Hills Hotel is haunted. In the bathroom, we strangely find a poster with some dude looking ominously at us with the phrase "for a better tomorrow" on the bottom. This dude is or was a candidate running for some office position, or maybe it has something to do with MLO. Nothing to base that claim on, it's more of just a hunch. Moving down the hallway with the creepiest f***ing clown you will ever see, we can find the Smile Room. In the Smile Room, we are greeted with the eerie sound of a show called Marty the Marsupial, where it sounds like Marty is a time-traveling marsupial, which is f***ing awesome.
Look at me, Marty. I give you one good squeeze to activate your time-traveling powers, and we go back to before things were ruined.
Upon further inspection, it appears that the Smile Room is where Brixly takes headshots of children. We can also find a PC tucked away with a Mindjot chat room with a man in sunglasses named AV saying, "Make sure the little redhead wears a princess dress." Brixly replies with a photo saying, "Here. Couldn't get her to smile though." AV says, "Perfect. She's gonna look great on the cover. P.S. I'll get her to smile." If you haven't made the connection yet, AV is Amos Voll, the billionaire porn star philanthropist. This confirms that Brixly was the one sending Voll children, and we all know what happens after he gets them. Along one of the walls, we find writing saying, "Do it for your children. Reach for the stars. Think of the money." From here, we move into the dressing room, where there isn't really anything of value other than a weird photo of this kid that looks a lot like Chloe Grace Moretz, but it's also lit weirdly to the point where I can't tell if this is a real photo of a kid like the other pictures or an in-game asset. Don't know if that's important or not, just felt like sharing because it's kind of a weird find. From here, we move across the hall into Mr. Brixly's office. Occasionally, we find this greasy slug himself here, but I've seen him appear in multiple locations too. If you're not quick enough in apprehending him, Brixly will go out on his own terms.
Drop the weapon now! Drop the weapon now!
In Brixly's office, we can find photos of children that look similar to the ones found in Voll's basement, as well as a suitcase full of cash and a name tag saying, "Sergeant Francisco Laguna, Saigon Operations." This is strange, to say the least, but we'll talk more about that later in the theory section. On a chair next to the desk, we can find a magazine discussing the climate issues Los Sueños is facing. We can also find a strange shrine with "You are a star" crudely written on a poster with photos of children all around. On one of the walls, we can also find a calendar, and here's where things get a little funky. During the data center raid, a calendar in the toll booth places the map in August. During the Voll house raid, Janie's calendar says her 18th birthday is April 16th, 2022. In Brixly's office, the calendar says it's February, but doesn't say what year. As the mission debrief states, seized data center assets point to the owner operating in one of the poorest neighborhoods. So this, for all intents and purposes, basically confirms that the data center raid took place in August of 2021. The following year, 2022, they managed to decrypt the information recovered at the data center and were pointed towards Brixly. They raided Brixly and found that connection to Voll, thus launching the following raid in April. So the correct order to play these missions is Sinuous Trail, The Spider, and then finally, Valley of the Dolls, completing this mission arc for now, at least. And that is basically all I found. There really is nothing of substance on the roof, just more graffiti and trash, so with that, let's move on to some speculation. As I mentioned prior, Brixly is at least one of the people supplying Voll with children. I still think Voll is working with a group based out of Romania, so Brixly in my eyes is just a small piece of the pie. Based on what we found written along the walls, I suspect Brixly set up in the poorest neighborhood intentionally. Here, people are desperate. They need money to either fuel a drug habit or support their families. Brixly sets up shop and promises these suffering individuals a brief bit of respite. "Sign your kid to me and I'll make them a star." Being funded by Voll, a very successful multimillionaire, Brixly can offer these people anything they want. These people sign their kids to Brixly, he takes photos and sends them to Voll. Voll then sifts through them and finds the ones he likes and then tells Brixly to send them his way. I don't know if this means Brixly outright kidnaps the kids with the parents' cries falling on deaf ears of the police, or something more sinister. What if Brixly buys the kids? A struggling mother, addicted to whatever substance, is suddenly offered a very handsome price for their kid. These people can't think straight, but they see that money. So maybe this will be good for little Johnny. Maybe Brixly will send him to some important producer who will make him a star. So they take the money and sign their kid away to Brixly, damning them both.
They offered us money. I just wanted a future for my boys.
Now, I want to back up a little bit and go back to Brixly's office and focus on that name tag. Sergeant Francisco Laguna, Saigon Operations. For one, Saigon doesn't exist anymore. It's Ho Chi Minh City now. This could have been another remnant left over from the Martinez Safe Injection Clinic, but then again, why were military personnel working at the clinic? But then again, if it was military personnel, why does it say Saigon Operations? Because I highly doubt this was left over from the 70s, because I would think a safe injection site would be clean when Martinez was operating out of it, so I doubt this was a remnant from before he owned the building. Maybe George Brixly is a fake name and his real name is Francisco Laguna, and Laguna was military during the Vietnam War and he keeps his old name tag as a keepsake. But then again, why would he put it on his office desk when he's hiding under a pseudonym? Maybe, and this is a total shot in the dark, this is a subtle hint that the world of Ready or Not is more divergent from our own than we thought. Maybe Saigon never became Ho Chi Minh City because in the Ready or Not universe, we won the Vietnam War. Or maybe, just maybe, this is a mistake from the developers and I'm looking way into a total nothing burger. No, that can't be it, because this basically confirms the Watchmen is connected to the Ready or Not universe, Dr. Manhattan won the Vietnam War for everybody, and Ozymandias is confirmed as judge. Sorry. Whether or not George Brixly is his real name is irrelevant. This man is a monster, connected to many, many more. With the Mindjot data center raid, we were able to uncover more of the city's seedy underbelly. However, if I was a betting man, I'd imagine Brixly and Voll are the least of our worries for now, and with time, the data center will point us to things that will make these monsters look like children in comparison.